This is the afternoon weather briefing. This is for Friday, the 14th of March. I'm James Spann. A dangerous, severe weather setup for Alabama in the Deep South, especially tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night with that second round. But we have two rounds of severe storms, and we have the upgrade to a high risk, and a lot of new data is in. So if you can, just sit back, spend a few minutes with us here, and we'll explain what we believe will unfold. We always like to start with the current upper air look. This is the flow about 18,000 feet off the ground. You can see that deep trough going negative tilt coming out of the Rockies, and that will be the driving mechanism, the dynamic forcing for the severe storms that we'll see between now and late tomorrow night. Visible satellite view, we have really a mix of sun and clouds today. Got a field of fair weather cumulus clouds, a little high altitude cirrus streak overhead, but things are relatively quiet as expected this afternoon, and we have nothing here on radar. The closest showers over parts of eastern Arkansas. So we have warmed up nicely. In fact, a few spots have reached 80 over in West Alabama. For example, Demopolis 80, Utah 81. Most locations are in the 70s. So in terms of advisories, we now have a wind advisory for about the northern two-thirds of the state. The counties in brown on that map. We'll see gradient winds gusting to 30, maybe 35. But in this case, the gradient wind is not the big deal. The big deal, it's the thunderstorms. And we also note there is a flash flood watch in effect now for the counties in green. This would be for areas north of a line from near Millport to Jasper to Cullman to Fort Payne. This is where rain amounts could exceed 2.5 inches between now and early Sunday morning. And around the rest of the nation, we have a lot of wind issues around that deep surface low across the Great Plains states. And red flag warnings up where you see the counties in hot pink. That's a wildfire danger situation. So this is the severe weather outlook for the rest of today and tonight. And keep in mind, this outlook runs through 7 a.m. tomorrow. And we have a level 4 out of 5 risk defined from West Tennessee up into parts of southern Iowa, parts of Missouri and Illinois. This would include places like Memphis and St. Louis. Most likely a squall line will be coming through there tonight. The main concern, a lot of damaging wind, but there certainly could be tornadoes involved. And for Alabama, this is round 1. And this is for the activity coming in here late tonight. The bulk of this will be after midnight. And so for round 1, after midnight tonight, we have a level 3 out of 5 risk over the western counties of the state, a level 2 out of 5 over to Scottsboro, Prattville, and Jackson. And really, we don't expect many issues over East Alabama with round 1. This is mainly an issue for the western side of the state. And of course, this is what's getting all the buzz. This is the broad view tomorrow. And tomorrow night, we have a risk of severe storms all the way from the Gulf Coast to near Detroit, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. And on the late morning update, SPC did go ahead and issue a high risk, which is level 5 out of 5. And the counties in purple on that map for parts of Alabama and Mississippi. But the rest of the state, understand, the rest of the state is at a level 4 out of 5. All of Alabama with a very meaningful, dangerous, severe weather event tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. And for those asking, the last time we had a level 5 risk here, level 5 out of level 5 was on March 25th, 2021. And interestingly enough, we had another high risk earlier that month on March 17th, 2021. Kind of had two back-to-back, but these happen once every few years. And again, the last high risk was on the 25th of March, 2021. And I will tell you, for a lot of us, we will not forget that day. That was the day where our home was hit by an EF3. Horrible day. We had loss of life that day in Ohatchee from tornadoes. This is the probabilistic outlook, and again, this is for round 2, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. And first off, that large hatched area, this goes up into Tennessee, Georgia, covers all of Mississippi, Alabama. That means the chance of a few strong, violent tornadoes. It's the bottom line. And this is the chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. And in that high-risk area, the chance of any one spot getting a tornado is now up to 45 to 59%. And that's about as high as you see here. And in terms of the severe wind probabilities, this is the chance of damaging wind. By definition, that's 58 miles per hour or greater within 25 miles of a given point. You can see those chances are running in the 30 to 44% bracket for all of Alabama. So it's obviously a high-end event. We're going to go through all the modeling and the timing here in just a moment, try and answer a lot of your questions. And then on day 3, which is Sunday, the risk moves to the east, running from near Tallahassee and Jacksonville up to Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City. So this is the rain for the next 7 days. Now, this does count the rain we see with the system around the middle of next week, late Wednesday or Wednesday night, but again, a lot for the northern half of the state. In fact, this is suggesting the shoals might pick up over 4 inches of rain for most of North Alabama. Rain amounts between 2 and 3 inches. And then for the southern part of the state, rain amounts between 1 and 2 inches. So let's break it down. We'll take it day by day, hour by hour. So this is a look at the upper air pattern tomorrow. That's coming off the 12Z GFS model fans. You see that trough going negative tilt, very strong wind fields. The initial deep surface low is moving up into Canada. A secondary low forms over in northeastern Mississippi. And that just looks awfully favorable for some real problems here. Now let's start with round 1. So this is after midnight tonight. This is 3 a.m. And you can see that we should have showers and thunderstorms in progress over about the northern half of the state, maybe a few isolated storms down in southwest Alabama. And again, this is 3 a.m. Let's go to 6 a.m. And again, you can see scattered showers and storms, mainly over the northern half of the state. This is coming off the high-resolution rapid refresh model, the HRR, HRRR. So let's look at the significant tornado parameter and understand this is a composite index that puts a lot of different parameters together, and just at a glance you can get an idea of where the highest tornado risk will be. And again, this is 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you can see why we're saying the better chance of severe storms with round 1, the overnight activity early tomorrow morning, will be on the western side of the state. You can see there's basically no meaningful STP for East Alabama because the air should be relatively stable at that hour for that part of the state. So again, for round 1, overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, there certainly could be a few tornadoes, mainly on the western side of the state, along with a few storms with hail and strong straight-line winds. But let's shift over to round 2. And that's not a good look right there. This is valid 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And you can see just these discrete supercell storms across Alabama. And based on the projected profiles, any of these could produce a tornado or large hail or damaging straight-line winds. We'll check the instability. This is the surface-based CAPE, and this is buoyancy. That's one of the ingredients you need for severe storms. And the risk at that point should be pretty much over for the shoals up in northwest Alabama. And again, this is 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, but in advance of that surface boundary, the instability value is about 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. Certainly very sufficient for severe storms. And this is the STP. Again, that's that composite index. Just at a glance, you can see where the higher tornado potential will be. And it's very elevated. We're seeing some STP values in the 10 to 15 unit range in advance of that surface front. So let's discuss the timing here. First off, this is for round 1. This is the late night tonight, early tomorrow morning. The window opens up in West Alabama about 11 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock to midnight, runs through 7 a.m. tomorrow. That would include places like the Shoals, Tuscaloosa, Mobile. For Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, the window for round 1, about midnight tonight through 8 a.m., and in East Alabama, again, I just don't think we have any big severe weather problems with round 1. If you're in Anniston, Gadsden, Fort Payne, Auburn, Opelika. But if by chance a stray storm gets over there, it's going to be after 2 a.m. So round 1, the main concern overnight tonight for the western half of the state. So this is round number 2. And this is the big show. This is the main event, if you will. We've got the window for the western side of the state, noon until 9 p.m. Again, that would be the Shoals, Tuscaloosa, Mobile. For the central counties, Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, the window between 2 and 11 p.m. And then for east and southeast Alabama, the window between 4 p.m. and 3 a.m. And understand within those windows, there could be a storm with all modes of severe weather possible, very large hail, damaging wind, and of course the greatest concern, those violent long-track tornadoes. Again, we are encouraging you to help us. If you take the time to watch these videos, that means you pay attention. And you can literally be a hero by passing along the information you're getting here to your family members and your friends and your neighbors. that might not be paying attention. And we're not faulting them. Everybody's busy. Everybody's busy. And there's some people that don't know we have a high-end, dangerous, severe weather threat coming up later tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night. Let them know. And during the event itself, if they fall into a tornado warning polygon, you can really help us by calling them and texting them. Tell them to turn us on, watch, or tell them they're in a polygon. Go to a safe place now. And that's an important part of the warning process that I think we've missed over the years. If you pay attention to weather, if you're a weather enthusiast, if you're a weather geek, nerd, dork, weenie, then you could certainly help us. And of course, the message that we're trying to pass along is that you got to be able to get the warnings. And of course, the baseline, it's a weather radio. Unfortunately, many of the retailers have sold out of them. But again, on your phones, be sure that you have wireless emergency alerts enabled. Go to notifications and settings, notifications, and look for emergency alerts and be sure that's turned on. That's that loud tone out that you get for amber alerts and tornado warnings. Some people turn it off, but we want you to turn it back on. And turn off the sleep and do not disturb mode in that the round one's going to be middle of the night, and phones often kick into that. And then, of course, know the safe place, and that safe place helmets for everybody. I'm telling you, a simple, cheap bicycle helmet can really mitigate loss of life here. It increases your chance of survivability in a big way or being seriously injured. Bike helmet's perfect. Batting helmet, football helmet, motorcycle helmet. Some know that I've volunteered in healthcare for 20 years. The main reason I started doing that was to learn more about this, about trauma. And you ask any ER doc, and they'll tell you that a helmet's a big deal. And the other thing we like for people to have, maybe a little portable air horn in your pocket. If you take a direct hit, you might wind up 100 yards from where you started. And first responders can't even recognize the neighborhood anyway. And you cannot vocalize your need for help if you're injured. And you can squeeze that little air horn, and first responders can hear that, and they can find you. You can buy those things at the dollar store. They're very inexpensive. You can stick it in your pocket. And the other thing to consider, it's hard-sole shoes. A lot of folks, if you're like, look, I'm from rural South Alabama. When I go home, I take my shoes off. But if you walk over a tornado debris field with, if you're barefooted, have socks, tennis shoes, it can shred your feet. So by having hard-sole shoes, that's a really good idea. So in that safe place, helmets for everybody, including adults, a little portable air horn, and hard-sole shoes. And the other thing we kind of struggle with in a high-end situation like this, it's we don't want to scare people. And I know that all these outlooks you're seeing, they're kind of scary. All of a sudden now you've got a level 5 out of 5 risk, and these don't happen that often. But sometimes we have to use bold language. We just do. And if you know me, if you follow me, you know that one of the things I've been doing more than anything else in recent years is fighting unnecessary hyperbole for non-severe weather events on social media. But this is one where we have to use strong wording. But I want you to understand, even on a big day like tomorrow, the odds of any one spot, your house, being hit are relatively low. Alabama's a big state. Tornadoes are small compared to a state, a county, a municipality. So there's no need to be anxious, but you do have to understand this is a high-end dangerous risk, and you've got to be able to get the warnings, have a plan, and know what to do. And one more point, it's the mobile home situation. We have a large percentage of Alabamians away from municipalities live in mobile homes and trailers. Wonderful, affordable housing. But you can't stay there during a tornado warning polygon. You've got to get out. You cannot be in a car. You cannot be in a trailer. And so today's a good day to identify the nearest shelter that's going to be open, or a business that's open 24/7, a gas station, a fast food restaurant, something that can serve as a shelter. Know how to get there quickly and have transportation arranged, because we don't want to hear about any loss of life in mobile homes. The Lee County 2019 tornado really set us back. We had 19 of the 23 fatalities in trailers, and we've got to do better for people in mobile homes. And we'll try and do that on the coverage. And speaking of coverage, to watch, we would recommend that you subscribe to the James Spann YouTube channel and the ABC 3340 YouTube channel. And they just use the YouTube app, and you can watch us on whatever device you want to, TV, whatever. Of course, we're on old school TV, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. When we're in other markets, I'm typically live on my own YouTube channel. That's the reason you need to subscribe to both. And just when we are in the heat of battle, like I'll give you an example. As I look over here at the social inbox, right now the count is a little over 5,000 people asking for individual briefings and asking questions. And obviously, I can't answer 5,000 questions. Every bit of energy we have has to be focused on getting a forecast analysis together, getting the forecast right. And once we get on the air, every bit of my strength, my mental cognition skill is having to be used by telling a coherent story on the air. I'm looking at 25 live streams. I'm looking at all the social feeds, trying to decide what to put on television. And I can't do individual briefings. And so we ask that you watch us. And I promise we'll try and answer every question that you have through the live coverage. And again, I'll be here the whole time. Listen, this ain't my first rodeo. I've done these long duration events in the past, and I'm a little older than I used to be, but I feel better now than I felt when I was 30 in terms of physical strength and mental cognition. So I'm ready to go. We're already here in the TV station. So just watch as we get into this. All right, quickly, let's go to Sunday. It's out of here. Could be a few isolated showers. Highs go back in the 60s. Next week, Monday, we're dry. Tuesday, we're dry. Here comes our next system Wednesday. Got a surface low that's approaching Chicago with a trailing front. That looks like that'll bring a band of storms in here Wednesday, late Wednesday and Wednesday night. Probably not severe, but it's really too early to call. Once we get past the weekend, we can focus on that. Thursday, we're dry and colder. We might see some temperatures near freezing by Friday morning of next week. This is Friday, troughing onto the east. We'll start the day in the 30s. The high will be in the 60s. So let's keep going. We'll go out 10 days. This is Monday, March 24th. Another negative tilt trough in the Plain States. Another deep surface low, and that could bring a chance of severe storms later this month. But understand, having severe weather threats is not unusual. This is March, one of the big months in our tornado season, which runs here from November through May. Here's a look at rain for Birmingham. This is coming off the European ensemble. The mean is the green line, a little over 3 inches between now and the 29th of the month. Temperatures, highs mostly in the 60s and 70s. And again, Friday of next week, we'll be well down in the 30s. We might see a few of the colder pockets making a run for the freezing mark. And this is yesterday's outlook here. Let me see if we can get an update to this very quickly. Often CPC will issue these about the time we do the videos, and it's not in yet. But temperatures near, maybe slightly above average, March 21st through March 27th. So again, for those of you just joining us, we're live here at 2:30 on a Friday afternoon. We have 2 rounds of severe storms coming up. The first one, round 1, late tonight, early tomorrow morning. 11 o'clock tonight, 8 a.m. tomorrow. The main concern with round 1, the western half of Alabama. Round 2, all of the state at risk. Noon tomorrow to 1 a.m. Sunday. And that's when we could see some very violent tornadoes, long-track tornadoes that get down. Again, this is the timing for round 1. Again, about 11 o'clock midnight tonight through 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And again, mainly for the western half of the state. And then for the big show, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, which is really going to get pretty dangerous here. Noon to 9 o'clock, West Alabama. Central counties, Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, 2 to 11. East and Southeast Alabama, 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. And you obviously will have to be able to hear the warnings, have a good plan. The goal, the most important goal, and quite frankly, the only one we really think about is preventing loss of life here. And we don't want anybody getting in a situation where they're seriously hurt or they lose their life tomorrow. And so we just want everybody to pay really close attention, get those warnings. And I know you're tired of me saying this, but you know what I'm about to say, never a siren. A large percentage of people in the state still believe in their heart they're going to hear some magical air raid siren 5 miles away during a raging storm, inside their house, inside a business. No, the siren mentality has killed more people in this state than anything else over the years. Weather radio, number 1. Phone, number 2. Emergency alerts enabled. Know the safe place. And we'll get through this thing together fine. Again, the odds of any one house being hit by a tornado, even on a day like this, are low. But the chances pretty strong. In fact, let me show one more time this probabilistic outlook. This is the chance of a tornado, and this is for round 2. The chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. And in that high risk, the chance is up to 45 to 59%, which again is about as high as it ever gets on these outlooks. Typically, you're going to see yellow for an event like this, 10 to 14%. But that's very meaningful. Of course, that high risk includes Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Clanton, Greensboro, places like that. But please, please don't get hung up in these risk categories and the numbers and the colors. You just need to understand that the whole state has a very meaningful, dangerous, severe weather risk tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. So this is going to be the last video update before we get into this. Is we need to, and again, once we get tornado warnings going, we'll be live. The one thing I have to point out, we can't burn ourselves out for non-severe storms just going on for no reason. If you're going to see us live, we'll have tornado warnings. And again, we'll probably have some overnight tonight for round 1. And then certainly we'll be spending a lot of time wall to wall tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. So we'll see you then. Thank you for watching. We had no school visits today. We moved those out until Monday of next week. Thanks to Coldwater Elementary for postponing their program to Monday. And of course, we do invite you to watch us for the regular newscast this evening right across the hall in Studio A, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and God bless.